Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pipeline Podcast, episode 130. I'm your host today, Darren McClymans, and I am joined by a very special guest, Yael. How's it going, buddy? How's it going?
Great, everything's great, and I'm now just noticing that the Nelson Murdoch and Page thing down there didn't went out. I thought it did, so I don't know how to edit that. So
Uh,
let's just let that there in the loving memory of Foggy Nelson.
Absolutely. It's an absolute
But
honor to
yeah,
have.
everything's great.
It's an absolute honor to have someone from such a um a wholesome group of people, if you will. But no, welcome to the show. We've been
Thank
mutuals
you.
for many years now. So when I heard you wanted to come on the show, I was like, this person is so kind, so nice, so generous. Someone I've really enjoyed talking to over the last couple years. So I pretty instantly sent you an invite to come on the show, and I'm very excited. This will be our continuation on our MCU retrospective and the final episode in our phase one. And you said this was a movie that you really enjoyed, right?
Yeah, I love this movie. This is the movie that actually got me into the whole ape shit and stuff. So it really it's something very special to me in my heart. In anything, whenever people say that this movie aged bad or it looks like TV show, I don't really care.
Sure.
I love this movie.
I agree. Like, I think it was either my first or second MCU movie I ever watched. Like, I'm trying to remember. It was either this one or Guardians one of the two, and I feel like that was kind of the start of the real popularity of these movies
Yeah.
and them really starting to take off. Um, but yeah, no, like I'm very excited to talk about that later on. Let's read some chats really quickly. One Marvel fan says hello. How's it going?
Hello.
Ronan says hello. Hello, wholesome group of
Hey.
people. Yeah,
I
no,
hope they.
absolutely. I would say, well, Matt's falls on the side of maybe not as wholesome. Karen has her moments, but Foggy was definitely a very wholesome gentleman. I
I
don't know if you've
mean,
seen. Oh, good.
yeah. I mean, yes, they are.
Yeah, no. Like I feel like, oh man, like the latest Daredevil episode. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but man, the
Yeah.
like way they talked about Foggy in that episode was so
Uh,
just like, oh, it just got cut through the heart. Oh,
the kindest
crazy.
human being he ever met. Yeah, he is. He truly is. He truly was. But he is. He's alive. He's alive. I believe. I'm in denial.
I am totally in denial. I will be
Yeah.
shocked if he's not back. I don't know if that's the logic or if that's just me
I
wishful
don't care.
thinking.
I don't care. I don't care. He should have ran over Kevin Feige's foot twice.
Amazing. Hello, Lance. How's it going, my friend? How's it going? But yeah, we are going to jet start today's episode. We normally launch these episodes with a creator spotlight segment where I just kind of get to know my guest a little bit. But since this is your first time on the show, we're going to do a fun little speed round of nerdy pop culture questions that somewhat relate to the kind of things we're talking about today. So I'm going to just ask you a couple of fun little questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly
All right.
fine.
All right, amazing. The first two, very easy, very baseline when it talks to like nerdy conversations. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. I
Really?
really enjoy it. I watched it on Twitter on theaters 4 years ago. And I cried. I cried with the ending, and I already have watched it before, but it made me cry on
Yeah.
theater and on probably what it was my third watch of the movie,
Wow.
but it really was very emotional for me. It's really an amazing movie. I mean, all the Oscars it received and was nominated, valid. It's totally
Yeah.
like agree on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, second favorite it's Back to the Future. Like I have
Back
to
to the
say,
Future is such a good
just a little
pick.
mention too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings is one of the like biggest, like one of my biggest like disqualifications as like a film fan because I have not seen any of the Lord of the Rings or the
Oh,
Hobbit movies. which is like, I don't know why. I don't know if it's just like their length that I haven't had time or whatever, but it's like it's the one where like anytime someone mentions it, I was like, yeah, I still haven't seen this. I need to watch them. I need to finally make the time and just watch them because I hear they're incredible.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Um,
Next question. Favorite TV show of all time. Kind of goes hand in hand
um,
with favorite movie, but
it's actually not a geek TV show,
yeah,
or it could be depending on your or how you view a geek TV show. But it's Brooklyn Nine Nine. It's I really
incredible.
love Brooklyn Nine Nine. I'm waiting to have money to buy the pops that they released last year. Actually, if we're talking about comic book TV shows, Daredevil. It's not even
Yeah,
hard, actually.
yeah. Brooklyn Nine-Nine so much fun. I watched that a couple years ago for the first time, and I was like, "Oh, this is fun." I feel like I really didn't. I feel like I didn't really know what a sitcom was for a long time, or like what it could be. Like I feel like I stopped watching so much after like from a young age of like they're just laugh tracks and blah blah blah. And I feel like Brooklyn was my first like, oh no, they can be so much more than just a laugh track. Like they're like they can expand on what a comedy show looks like. And Brooklyn
Yeah,
Nine Nine, Community were some of my big ones. Where I was like, oh, okay, I actually do like these.
especially these modern sitcoms, because like before the laugh traps and all that, they kind of like had a very stereotypical views
Yeah,
both in how they portray minorities and how they portray themselves. So
sure,
they were very, very basic. They are iconic, like that 17 show Friends, but they're
sure.
still very of the time. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of TV shows that like even just like within the last before the last like 10 years where it's like, man, these things don't age very well. Like there's a lot just in it's stereotypes and the kind of stories they're telling where it's like,
and
man,
the Big Bang Theory, yeah.
yeah, for sure. Jonathan says hello from down under. Hello, how's it going?
Oh,
Uh Naruto says, I'm about to start rewatching You going into the final season. Have you seen You at all? Is that a show that
and
you've watched?
I watched the first two seasons, three.
Okay.
I loved it, but I haven't had the time because I don't have Netflix anymore, and and between school and it's been years since I'd watched you. I have plans on watching it with a few friends. Actually, I've discussed it at least. I'm not sure if we will end up doing it because we are late with watching the Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, I've been watching the first season for like the first time, and it's like it's a very interesting show in terms of like what it's doing and like how you're rooting for the protagonist because you do find yourself doing so, and it's like, wait, he's a terrible person who's stalking people and like
Yeah.
killing them, and it's like actually not a great guy, actually someone you want to avoid and not root for, but you somehow still do, which is a weird feeling. But it's fun.
Yeah, it's really great. It's interesting. The actor that I don't remember his name, but it's really great.
Yeah, he does a great job. He is so charming that it makes you want to forget the bad things the character is doing. It's like, no
Yeah,
way, I can't justify that. What's going on? Um um
yeah.
oh God.
No, no, no. Continue. Sorry.
This next one, I think you actually technically already answered. And if you had, you can always pick like your second favorite. But favorite cinema experience. So like favorite experience within a movie theater.
Within a movie theater, I think they have two actually. First one has to be Avengers Endgame. Has to be that night on the theater, watching everything that 10 years, 11 years of stories culminating on one scene with Captain America's Avengers Assemble.
Yeah.
I especially because that week I watched all the MCU with a friend, my cousin. I watched with my cousin, and really catching every reference, being emotional at everything. It was really and the whole theater, like the whole theater, on fire. Basically, that's never gonna happen again
No.
on like theater experience.
Yeah.
Second one, I would probably say Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3.
Wow.
Volume 3.
Three. Three.
Because I think it's the first time I cried so much watching a movie like that.
Wow.
It was, yeah. Honorific mention to Black Adam, which one of my cousins, not same cousin, and I were the only ones at the theater, and I was the only one who screamed at Henry Cavill returning just for him not to. So yeah, that's hilarious to me.
That makes sense. I was like, really, Black Adam? I was like, oh, it was Superman, and you did have that giant, which I think is the only time I've seen Superman on the big
In a movie.
screen. I guess, right?
I,
Outside of, I guess, Super Pets, which I don't know if that counts. But
I watched the Lego Batman movie in theaters and then the Josh Whedon's Justice League, so I am just gonna count the Lego Batman movie. Not out
that
of the three,
movie,
it's the best one.
I I agree. That movie is honestly such like a sneaker hit. Like that movie is really really good. I haven't rewatched the Lego Batman in a long time, but that's a really good one.
Yeah,
Um,
it's probably the best Batman movie if we actually like comparing it to the Batman. Well, the Mask of the Phantom is there, but the Batman also. But I mean, if we compare it to some things.
absolutely. Okay, our last question here. And this one just kind of, and you actually technically already answered this one, but I'll ask you like second or third favorite. And it kind of goes along with what we're talking about today. Favorite piece of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So from the movies, the TV shows, the specials, whatever it may be, do you have a favorite?
I had already answered, and it's Daredevil.
It's Daredevil. Yeah.
I really think Daredevil season 3, especially, it's the best product to come out of any comic book adaptation. It's just so perfect, man. I really have like this appreciation and love for the characters, for the story,
Yeah.
um, the everything Matt goes. I really love season 3. I'm basing it more on season 3 than on the rest of the show, despite also loving season 1 with all my heart. And
Yeah.
season 2, well, I don't love it as much as the other two. I still love it. I still think it beats like 90% of superhero TV.
Yeah.
I'm really glad they made the show canon because
Yeah.
it's like that show you don't have to decanonize. Like, I mean, I will still be angry if Agents of Shield, Agent Carter, Cloak and Dagger end up not being canon. I will still be upset.
Yeah.
But if in the end they say, oh yeah, we bring back Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, but they are not the same version as the Defenders shows, and what's the point of doing that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, Daredevil.
Yeah, like I feel like they opened up such a can of worms in terms of like what the West Marvel project is and stuff like that. Post bringing all these characters back, because it's like, yeah, they really were just ahead of their time, and they
Yeah,
really were just like really showing up the main movies up in many ways. Like I'm binging a lot of these shows for like the first time, or like rewatching them for the first time in years, and it's like, man, these were really, really good, especially like comparatively to the newer Marvel shows that we've got. Not to say I haven't enjoyed them, because I have, but I do think there's a distance in quality from like a Daredevil to like a Moon Knight, or like
yeah,
a Miss Marvel or something, you know?
yeah.
So incredible answer, absolutely. And I would agree, like I would say I think I prefer all of Daredevil, all of Agents of Shield, Jessica Jones season 1 over like
Yeah.
most of the MCU that we currently have, I think.
I will even add the Punisher season 1 and Luke
Yeah,
Cage season 2, especially. I really love this too. Um,
absolutely.
Not Inhumans and Iron Fist though. Yeah, that's no.
Yeah, we can leave Inhumans behind. That's
Yeah,
the one we can,
the Canada is entirely. Let's say it was the same version on the Earth that appeared in Multiverse of Madness, and that Black Bolt is dead for sure.
let's move on from them for sure. So yeah, we're gonna be moving on into a couple of news stories here. So this was a weird week for news. Like there was a lot of stories that were like a little different than what I normally will discuss on here. And of course, if there's any of these topics that you just you're not following that franchise or whatever, absolutely no problem whatsoever.
Right?
But we had one kind of main thing that we would typically talk about, and that is over at DC. I want to talk about this. Won't be for too long or anything, but I did find it very interesting. Colin Farrell seems to be in the conversation for upcoming Sergeant Rock project. So really quickly, like, are you excited for the new like DCU? Like, is that a franchise that you're really excited for? Are you excited for like James Gunn's take on these characters at all?
I'm intrigued. I wouldn't say I'm excited for Superman. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I need to watch that movie. I'm excited to watch Rachel Brosnahan, David Cornswet, Nicholas Hoult
yeah,
bring their Endgame. Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl. It's one of my favorite castings of all time. But I'm also scared that if the movie fails, everything goes down and we won't see any of these characters in
yeah,
like 30 years from now. Especially because they literally canceled everything else to do this. So I'm actually more intrigued and really excited. Yeah, I'm excited for Superman. I want to watch Woman of Tomorrow. I'm scared as hell for the Lanterns show.
mm,
I think one of the projects that hasn't have a lot of development, but I would love to see it's the James Mangold Swamp Thing movie.
yeah,
It's yeah, I love James Mangold. I love something, Alan Moore's something. I love something TV show. Please do this. um, and now Colin Farrell as Sergeant Rock. I think Sergeant Rock's an interesting choice of a character to do a movie. I
yeah,
think there are many stories to do. I think you can do something very original with him. But at the same time, I don't know if he's the focus that we should be going when I'm talking about uh, C list characters. I don't know how to
yeah,
pronounce that, but like you have a lot of characters. You have I was gonna say vigilante, but I already did him on Peacemaker. But you had
right,
like the Question. You have I don't know. I'm thinking Steel, even Steel, a character
right,
mostly known now for Superman and Lois and other adaptations like the Death of Superman, but he's still not that very much known as
sure,
for the public. It's a weird choice, especially also when you don't have a Wonder Woman movie or show at the time. Paradise Lost, I don't count it because it's more of a TV show before Diana is like we counted Krypton as a Superman show. It's not really a Superman show. So yeah, I don't know what that movie is gonna be, the Sergeant Rock movie. But I do think Colin Farrell is a good choice.
right.
Physically, at least, I think he's a really good choice. Luca, I don't know how to pronounce his name on his last name on either Spanish or or English. The queer director.
Sure.
I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sorry. I think he is an interesting show. I think he will do a really good job. I think Colin Farrell is an amazing actor.
Yeah.
I must admit, I haven't finished The Penguin. I left it at the pilot basically, but it's on my serialized watch list. So I'll continue it and finish it at some point. But yeah, I think it's really great. It's also a really good way of differentiating what is the Batman universe and what is the DCU universe. I don't I don't think people will be confused at all. Like I see a lot of people talking like people are going to be confused. Like he doesn't look like Colin Farrell in the Penguin.
That is true. Yeah. I think it's definitely like an interesting choice, right? Because like again, Colin Farrell like kills it at the Penguin, right? Like he does a masterful performance. You don't see Colin Farrell when you look at the Penguin. They are two separate people. He does such a good job. Um would I prefer to bring in new actors that, aren't already under the DC label? Yeah, definitely. Like especially someone like Sergeant Rock, where I feel like you want that feels to me like a movie or yeah, movie that they want to push for like award shows and stuff, right? Like that feels very like the Batman, very Dark Knight, very first Joker, where it's like, oh,
Yeah,
this is a well made, well put together kind of movie. And really trying to like redefine what a comic book movie can be, which I'm totally down for. So it's like, do you want to give someone who's already kind of done that, right, within the DC umbrella? It's like he did the Penguin already. All right, let's give him another movie that could potentially do that. Um, Again, I have no problem with it. Like, I'm not going to be like, how dare they?
yeah,
How could
yeah.
they do this? But I'll be like, okay, all right. Like this doesn't necessarily excite me if he does get the role over maybe someone who's not already under the brand and has a role, if that makes sense. Like this isn't like a Jason Momoa thing where it's like
Yeah.
he's done with that character and now he's moving on to this one. This is he would have two, I assume, at the same time, unless he's done as the Penguin. Like I don't, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see. He's definitely not he. Sergeant Rock. It's definitely not my first option to do a movie right now. Knowing that you're building a universe right now, yeah, that's just
I agree. Yeah, I think the only reason they're doing it is because it's cheap, right? Like they
yeah,
can, like maybe a script is done, it's cheap. They can be like, you know what? It's like a $10 million war movie that they could just kind of like put out and then hopefully make a lot of money because it's under the DC umbrella, right? So
yeah,
I think that's the same with the Clayface movies. Like I think that's going to be very cheap. It has the like Batman umbrella. It'll make them a buttload of money, and money is the one thing DC needs right now more than anything else. They need these movies to make bank.
yeah.
So I think that's and like you know what, if I have to go through a bunch of like small budget characters like Sergeant Rock and Clayface and whatever your next couple years, it like
Yeah, yeah.
like if I have to put through those to get a Superman sequel or your Batmans and your Wonder Womans, I will certainly do that. Like I will certainly do that. So
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I would though say that I don't know, maybe war movies it's not the best option because depending on the war movie, they're sometimes not as they don't have much box office as they
sure,
should sometimes.
right?
Clayface, I do think it's something interesting because it's a horror movie in a way, and I think people are more interesting right now in horror movies than superhero movies.
Yeah,
So it's something, especially since the substance released. It's gonna take a lot of from it. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I think yeah they need these movies to have like these cheap movies that get some money and then yeah let's cap a Batman movie, the Batman part 2 and part 3, and let's have your Flash. I hope they don't forget about him. But yeah, yeah, it's pretty much that. Yeah, but yeah, again, I will choose other character instead of Sergeant Rock, honestly.
yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, this next one, and again, like this is a franchise normally I would not talk about on here, but I am just genuinely curious. I think there's a lot happening, at least on one side of this franchise over the other. Looney Tunes and Sesame Street are no longer on Max, as HBO's new plan to focus on adult content. And I should have worded that better. It's not adult content, but it's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like an older audience, right?
Yeah, R-rated. Let's let it.
Yes. Not the other kind of adult content. So there's been a lot happening, especially on the Looney Tunes side of the brand over the last couple weeks. Obviously, the new Looney Tunes movie just came out in theaters. I watched it today. Very fun. That's a movie that barely was able to get out in theaters. Like they really fought to get that out. It finally got out. We're now trying to fight again for the Coyote versus Acme situation, stuff like that. So thoughts on the Max situation? I'm not sure if you have Max or anything like that.
Yes, yes, I do. Yes, I
Do
do.
you?
It's
Okay.
actually, yeah, it's the one I use the most actually.
Okay, amazing. So what's your thoughts on like Warner Brothers seemingly to focus less on the children's content and more on the adult content? Because I don't know if that's the smartest move in my
I think
opinion.
it's stupid, honestly. I think it's like, why would you deny kids having the same fun adults can? Like, first of all, Sesame Street. I'm a really big fan of the Muppets. I do think it's kind of dumb because this that's the kind of show you let your kids know about like the very basic things, while also having a lot of fun, while also having to hear all this music, to see all these characters interact with each
Yeah.
other. It's really something concerning, especially well the Muppets brand it's been dead for years, pretty much thanks to Disney also.
Yeah.
But now that they also go into Sesame Street, which has never been dead, so it's really weird. It's something weird in that area. The little things, the little tunes, sorry. Yeah, that's straight up stupid. It's
Yeah.
honestly I think David Zaslav hates fun, hates children, hates everyone. I think he, like, on one hand, canceling movies when they are being on post, it's really, really disrespectful
Yeah,
to the artist, to the industry, to the people that consume this content, to the fans, to the even, not even the fans, the people that don't know anything about these characters, and we're gonna watch these movies for the first time, and they can't because they are shelved on a Warner USB probably that will be leaked by via a Nokia. So it's really weird. I really hope Coyote vs. Ackman, Coyote v. Ackman
yes,
releases because I think that the proposal of the movie, the plot, it's really, really something fun, and everyone involved said it was amazing. It was really great, and we haven't had a Looney Tunes live action animated like mix. I don't know how it's called. We haven't had one of those since the Brendan Fraser movie,
yeah.
and it's really something interesting. John Cena was gonna be in it, and it would have been really fun. And now the newest movie, I don't remember its name. That they the Earth Stop, I think it was.
The year flew up.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. No, like that. It's so weird to me though because like Looney Tunes like is the brand for Warner
yes,
Brothers, or at least was for many years. Like that's
yeah,
like Nintendo being like we're gonna move away from Mario, and it's like why? Like that's your brand. Why are you shying so hardly away from your history? I would understand if they're not doing well financially or whatever,
hmm,
but I think there is a lot of potential within the Looney Tunes community, like within that franchise, if you market them better, right?
yeah,
This new movie
definitely.
that just came out, I thought it was incredible. I thought it was really, really, really solid. I think would have been a success if they gave even a little bit of a marketing push. And I know it's not the main Warner Brothers studio. It's like they gave it to it's like Ketchup something
Catch up.
studio, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's like they didn't have the budget to push it as far as it
yeah,
needed
of
to
course.
go. But if like Warner Brothers, if you just take an IP like that and actually market it in a time of year where there's not a crazy a lot coming out right now, at least not for a couple of handful of
Yeah,
weeks, on a short budget, this has a 15 million budget. Very easy to make that back, right? You can make that back opening weekend if you pushed it hard enough, right? So it's frustrating. I'm curious. Like, do you think Looney Tunes is a brand they're just trying to move away from completely? Do you think they're just kind of done with that side of their studio?
I think they are, and I think that's a very bad decision because, as you say, it's like if Disney suddenly like had a new CEO, and they just say, you know what, no more Mickey Mouse.
Nope,
Let's
they're done.
not do anything else with Mickey, Minnie,
Yep.
Donald, Goofy, Daisy, anyone. Let's forget about them. Let's move into doing 5 seasons of Shogun, and that's like no, right? You can have both. First of all, you can have
Yeah.
both. You can have House of the Dragon and you can have a Looney Tunes show.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm a very big fan of the 10,010, the 2010s Looney Tunes show. I don't remember its name. I don't know how it's in English,
Yeah.
its name, but it was really fun. I watched it as a kid. It was really, really fun. It was really entertaining. And yeah, but Bugs Bunny is the face of Warner, was at least the face of Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
I know they have other IPs that probably will do more money
Yeah.
to the company. Like you have of course DC Superman. You have Harry Potter, but still Looney Tunes made Warner Brothers. They're here today thanks to that. And really moving away from that, it's something that yes, they are doing that. They're pretty much doing that. It's not like you don't have to be you don't to have a high IQ to know that they are doing it. They are clearly trying to move away from that. Probably it's a money decision. It's a financial decision, as always. Apparently, um, but it's not the right one. I do agree it's not the right one. You have a lot of iconic characters. You have I don't know Duffy Duck. That's how his name. Here is his name is Lucas. You have Daffy Duck, Porky,
Yeah.
Bugs, of course, Lola. Um, all these characters that are integrated into not only cultural sorry, I don't know how to. I missed that for a second. But you have this character integrated in everyone alive,
Yeah,
pretty much. Everyone knows who these characters
they don't
are,
know.
and
Yeah,
you are not doing anything with them. And, on the contrary, you are literally shelving them, letting them to rot in Warner Bros. Office because you want to do adult content that will sell, whether or not there's a Looney Tunes movie, show, anything releasing. Uh, like today, like
yeah,
that's honestly, yeah, it's a stupid decision. It's really really stupid to decide to go in that direction. I get it. They want to be more mature. They want to be like, you can even do that with the Looney Tunes. The Looney Tunes, even though it was more racist, probably they were mature at the time they were
yeah.
created. It was not only, it's not the kids enjoyment that they have now. It was literally made for adults.
It was, yeah. Like Looney Tunes, well made, technically made for kids. To me, I never saw that. I was like, yes, I can't wait to show my
Yeah.
3-year-old nephew. It's like, no, they're enjoyment for everyone. A lot of the times gearing on the more like adult comedy, if anything, which is why I think that like 2011 show worked so well, because it was like, hey, what if Looney Tunes was a sitcom? And it's like, oh, okay. Like,
Yes.
yes, that was on Cartoon Network, but that did not feel like a kid show. That was just like a show that was trying to be funny and doing really creative things with the brand. And I would argue Looney Tunes is one of the most like creatively driven, like original franchises out there. Like who thought of the idea of like, we have the Looney Tunes. What if they team up with a basketball player and then they fight
Yes,
a bunch of
exactly.
monsters? And it's like, I don't know, but it's great and it's fantastic, So
I think it's probably Space Jam's 2 fault that all of this is happening. Probably because that was a flop, totally.
yeah,
Like, it was also a very bad movie. It's probably the worst movie I watched that year.
yeah,
But still, it's probably that movie's fault. That movie was meant to be successful to endorse the Warner Brothers IP at the moment,
yeah,
because you had all this product placement. You had Harry Potter, you had Game of Thrones, Rick and Morty,
yeah,
and they did pretty much nothing of money with it.
yeah,
And so yeah, it's pretty. I think it's that movie's fault that this is happening. Not the original Space Jam, which is probably known by a lot of people
yeah. It's
on
classic.
in the entire world. Here in Mexico, it's pretty well known. It's a classic.
Wow.
It's a classic, actually, a cult classic for even basketball fans. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, like just to kind of like wrap this up here, but like it's such a numbers thing for them, right? Like I think David just doesn't, and this probably goes for like all the like CEOs of all these companies, but they just don't care about these
yeah,
characters or their fans. They don't care that this is so connected to the studio's history. It's like, hey, that one movie didn't do well. We'll just scrap the entire department, scrap the entire legacy of the franchise. And it's like, I don't know, like these like it really angered me when they had said that David hadn't even seen Coyote versus Acne, and it's like
I didn't remember that, but you're right.
it's like you could have had the best movie ever made, and you would never have known. It could have been a masterpiece. It could have made millions of dollars, and you would never have known because you didn't even watch it. And
You know what? It could have been pretty bad even, but at least you will know. You will have watched it. You will
yeah,
have learned from its mistakes, pretty much.
and that's what art's all about. Like some people are gonna like it, some people aren't, but you
Yeah.
have to let it come out and let people have the opportunity to make that up for themselves. It's
I mean, I don't know why we are surprised anyway. Batman v Superman didn't like, it was a success, but not the success they wanted. So they pretty much scrapped everything and went to reformulate everything.
right.
So yeah, I don't know why we are surprised at this point, and that's why I'm also afraid for Superman. Thanks, Warner Brothers.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, we have two more stories here, and again, these are two I'm not sure if you're a fan of at all, but I do just genuinely want to talk about it. Have you seen Ted Lasso at all? A series on
No, I haven't.
Apple TV? Okay,
I
so
must admit I haven't, but I know they're doing a season 4, right?
yes, that's what this is about. So I won't talk about this too long, but I did find this to be a very interesting story. A fourth season of Ted Lasso is in the works, focused on the focused on the AFC's women's team. So this is a pretty interesting thing. So it was announced that they were going to be working on a fourth season a couple months ago, I think in
Mhm.
January, December, around that area, which was very shocking because the show had ended, right?
Yes, yes, I know.
They had 3 seasons on Apple TV, and that was the like, oh, it was supposed to be a 3-season plan, but like as it was wrapping up, it was very like most likely it'll be the final season, but it was kind of like a back and forth thing. So them returning for more is definitely a very interesting choice. And someone from like the outside who hasn't seen this show, what are your thoughts on a show ending and then just a couple years later being like, let's do more because we want to do more?
That they should do that with Legends of Tomorrow, which I will still be mad at for the rest of my life until they release a comic, a novel, or anything that grabs up that. No, I mean, at least Ted Lasso had a finale, I guess.
Yeah, an ending.
No, I mean, I think it's an interesting concept. The idea that they have. I know that the original Ted Lasso was like a American football coach that ends up coaching a soccer football team.
Yeah,
Um, I think that's the woman being woman centered. It's really interesting. It's an interesting take, but I wouldn't do it a fourth season more of a spin-off. I think
sure,
it works better as a spin-off. I think it
sure.
yeah, have Ted Lasso showing up, have him be there probably, or even make it a sequel. Not necessarily a
Yeah,
fourth season. Make it a sequel, like what Born Again is now.
yeah,
Um, just like try to do that. It's probably it depends also on how the show ended because like you can't do like a Breaking Bad season 6 for obvious reasons. You cannot do an Arrow season 9. Um,
sure.
like it's like if Arrow continued and it was like yeah this is Arrow, it's just Green Arrow in the Carnaves. So so yeah, I think it's like that. It depends on the finale it had. It was a closed but also open to like there is
Sure.
more to tell. You can tell more with these characters if we want to. Um, and yeah, you can do that. I mean, even if I don't like it or I have a love hate relationship with it, if you tell me tomorrow we're doing the Flash season 10, I will be like, all right then, let's do this. All right, the
Yeah,
finale sets up another season. Yeah, let's do this. So yeah, it's pretty much interesting, and also yeah, a women leagues team. It will be really good to see because in sports, in sport area, the female teams they are very mistreated by
yeah,
everyone pretty much on the planet. The female league
yeah,
of football, in like they are not as watched, as talked, as respected as what like the champions or the FIFA it's to like
sure.
the male teams. So that would be something interesting to touch about. Like I don't know much about sports either, but what I do know it's pretty basic, but it's like it's the truth. It's like they are not as respected as they should be, or they are not as highlighted as they should. So yeah, I think it's an interesting take. A show getting revived after ending, again, it needs to depend on the finale the show had for it to work, and that's like my biggest opinion on about it.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. Like I've definitely heard the take around that it should be a spin-off instead of a fourth season. I'm kind of like indifferent on that side of it, where it's like if it was a spin-off, I'd be okay. If it's not, like I'm also kind of okay. I It is interesting though because like it did kind of have an ending where it's like there are massive things that happen in that final episode where it's like, oh, okay, those are pretty definitive, but not impossible to come back from
Hmm.
either. Like you could have it be where it's like, okay, this makes sense to where they're at. But honestly, I kind of really like the idea, and this might be something that I think more shows should maybe consider of temporarily ending. Of like, okay, this is our
Yes.
story that we want to tell, and we're gonna let our actors go do different things. And then being like, you know what? Very similar to like a film sequel, it'd be like, yes, that was the story. And now we
Hmm.
have another one, and we want to tell that story. So now you've let your creative juices kind of like expand a little bit. You've let those actors do other projects. You've given the fans a little bit of a break. And hopefully you can come back stronger than ever and having a very clear sense of what you want to do. This is something I wish Arrow could have done, because Arrow is a show
Mm.
I don't think they wanted to end. I think Stephen Amell would have been happy doing more. What I think he needed was a break. I think he was
Yes,
tired.
yes, yeah. He was definitely tired, and then he like the COVID pandemic happened, and then he was like, "Oh no way, I miss it." And
Yeah,
he
I want
got
to come back.
returned. Like I get it. I get that sometimes it happens. You miss your old work. You miss working with your
Yeah,
friends. Having this kind of having to tell more for these characters. I get it. It's something that I think we're even as fans we have thought about it a lot. Like um and yeah, like community is doing this pretty much with I know it's like it was like not always, but it ended up being the plan of 6 seasons and a movie.
movie. Yeah,
uh but yeah, it's pretty much that they have left enough time pass so that people can be excited
yeah,
uh a movie. So yeah, I'm also like what you say about the characters ending on a very specific place that you cannot probably see them returning, but at the same
sure.
time, yes. Probably it's. I think that having another team, it's very probable that not the entire cast of the Lasso is coming back.
Hmm.
I I will consider that because probably Ted Lasso, obviously,
Yeah,
and some of his inner circle will return, but not everyone. Probably, probably maybe Noah from the team that he coached
yeah.
will return.
Yeah, I know there's one major cast member that said they're not returning due to like scheduling conflicts, which is like, yeah. And yeah, like I think the team's my biggest thing, because like they did so much with that team, and that is such a core part of the show. And I'm curious how much stays around, how much of a time jump is there? Like, is it like a 5 year time jump? If so, probably wouldn't be the same team anyway, right? Like a lot of those
Mhm.
players would have retired and stuff like that.
Yeah, or
Um,
move to another team, or
yeah,
like yeah, like
yeah.
that happens in life, literally. So
And I do just want to add just like one little thing here too, because I think you brought up a really good point about like women's sports aren't represented as well as male sports. And what Ted Lasso did very, very well in their run is they focused on the lack of like mental health in like men's sports. And
mhm.
like, it's a show about like being okay to express your emotions in various ways. And it was a really good story of like show lighting these very important issues that are not talked about within the sports industry. I don't like sports, I don't watch sports, but
Yeah, me neither.
just very common things I know aren't talked about. I think you bring up a very good point. I've heard people being a little, not mad that they're doing a women's sports team, but a little bit like, okay, I really liked what they did with the men's. And I was like, that's valid. But you're right, there's a lot of things that they can spotlight in a women's sports team. There's not a lot of movies and shows based on that. It's mostly
Yeah,
male focused sports teams. So I would also be very interesting seeing it from the perspective of like a straight white male, like his
yeah.
perspective on having to do a women's sports team could be kind of fun. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. Okay, one final story here. This is probably my favorite story of the week. And again, I'm not sure if this is a franchise you're a fan of.
All right, let's
Again,
see.
it's definitely an interesting week of talking about things I don't typically talk about, and that's Power Rangers. So
Oh,
Power Rangers is getting their official reboot over on Disney Plus. Now, are you a fan of the Power Rangers franchise at all? Is that something you grew up on at all?
I I was a fan of the Power
Okay,
Rangers, the samurai versions.
gotcha.
Uh, uh, they here they were on Nickelodeon. I don't know
Yep,
in where they were on USA.
yep,
Yeah, I was a fan as a kid. I remember like very little stuff about it. I have a friend who is a fan of the Power Rangers. He has run me about a few things that are honestly really hilarious. That he has shown me a few clips and gifs, and it's really fun, especially the old ones, right? It's really interesting.
mhm,
Um, yeah, no, I don't. I remember watching the 2017 movie years ago, and I don't remember any. Yeah, here's the friend, I'm Pedro. uh, and I don't remember almost anything about the 2017 movie, other than like Bryan Cranston was what is his name? Sordo. Sordon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Uh, I don't remember. It was a big actress that played Rita Repulsa, and then there was Naomi Scott, which was just
Yeah.
there as, and Becky G also was there, I think. So
AG. Yeah.
yeah, and that's what I remember about this movie. I don't remember anything else. Probably another actor from the Arrowverse was in it. I don't know. That's how I
Uh
got myself.
yeah, there was it was a Black Lightning actor was in it actually. I think there was a character that was Black Lightning for a couple episodes was in this movie. But
Oh, all right.
I, I, no. I mean, I think this is kind of a big deal on a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
So the Power Rangers reboot is something they've been trying to work out for a while. Like they were under the Hasbro brand, and
Yeah,
they
I
had
saw it.
recently. They for a couple of years there they moved to Netflix, and Netflix was supposed to launch the kind of next generation of Power Rangers is supposed to rebrand. So what Netflix did is they posted they like created the final season of like the main continuity. They did that. They did a Mighty Morphin special, which was like their like 35th anniversary of the whole franchise, and then they were going to do the rebooted series, which was going to launch a new continuity to introduce new fans and all this kind of fun stuff.
They didn't do it.
And that their deal with Netflix fell out. So the last year and a half has been about very up in the air for Power Ranger fans of like, where is it going to go? What's happening? Are they done with the franchise forever? Like, where is it going? And it was announced yesterday that it would be Disney Plus. Now, I do think this is interesting for a couple of reasons. One, they've been under Disney before. They during the 2010s, like the 20 like the early 2000s, like 2010, they were under Disney. So like your like Dino Thunder and your Ninja Storm and your Jungle Fury and a lot of those stuff, which a lot of people consider to be some of the best of the entire franchise. I also think it's interesting because I think in terms of like starting like a new franchise, I don't think Disney Plus is a terrible home for them in terms of like Disney's kind of like the king of like, say what you will about like capitalism and franchises and reboots and stuff like that, but like that's the home of MCU and Star Wars, and Percy Jackson will be that in a couple years, I assume. And
but yeah, they have Percy Jackson's showrunners, right?
yeah,
I think it was announced yesterday as well.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's I don't know if it's like the best like the best place to be. Like I remember I sent the news to my friend, and Juan Pedro just told me this could either be the best or the worst thing that could happen. And yeah, because we know how Disney Plus works. We know that they are also reworking its way of working. Example,
yeah.
Willow. No one watched Willow, and they pretty much erased that show from the planet. Um, I don't think the same thing is gonna happen here. I think people like Power Rangers fans are definitely watching this. Even if
Sure.
it's to like say this is too woke and we don't want I don't know why is the red one Asian or something, because they
Sure.
are fun, because people are funny. Yeah, what can I tell you? But yeah, no, I think it can work. It can work if you place it like I've talked about this with Juan Pedro, that if it's literally just Cobra Kai. Like,
I said that same thing here years ago or weeks ago. Cobra Kai is this generation's Power Rangers, and I said then I actually said I think Cobra Kai is a really good template. It's kind of exactly what I want from the next generation of Power Rangers, because I do think they have to modernize it a little bit. I do think they have to age up their audience a little bit, because they've always marketed a bit younger to a slightly younger audience,
yeah,
which is fine. Totally, that's where it got its start. That's totally great.
and
The
they want
issue,
to sell toys as well.
yes, toys are a big thing. The issue is they haven't really introduced a lot of new people to the franchise in years, and now
Yeah.
your main demographic are in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, and you're still creating content for the younger generation, which again I can respect a lot. But I think when rebooting it, I do think it's a smart idea to make something that can age up a little bit and people maybe in their 40s can still really enjoy it, while also introducing maybe, a 10, 11, a 12-year-old. And I think Cobra Kai is that exact tone of
Yeah.
like very silly, very goofy at times, but also you can take that show very seriously. It gets very real sometimes, right? I think if you can match that energy, um, I think that's good. Like I think you need to bring back in the modern audience, the Power Rangers, if you want it to survive the next 10, 15 years, right? So that's gonna be interesting. Like, how do they modernize it? You know, you have the Percy Jackson showrunner, and I think those fans seem very satisfied with the newest show that had just come out. So
Mhm.
I think if you could do to Percy Jackson I think if you could do to Power Rangers what you did to Percy Jackson, you're in pretty good hands there.
Yeah, I hope this goes well
Yeah,
for both the fans of this franchise and the people that are not fans of the
yeah,
franchise. Because, and again, I hope it works for the franchise in general, because we haven't had a product of these guys, like a big product in years. So like something that people actually known about. Like I think the 2017 movie was the last one, probably. So well, we know how that ended, but then again, it was literally going from the Transformers footprint, so it's like fine, I guess. Um, but well, Transformers is also reinventing itself pretty much on, like, with Transformers One, Bumblebee,
yeah.
the other movies, like the newer movies. So yeah, let this be like that. They need to be that, because that's what Transformers is doing currently. I'm not a fan of the franchise, but but I
Sure.
know a little. So yeah, they should do that, and I think yeah, the footprint they should take, it's Cobra Kai, definitely.
I agree. I agree. Very fun, very fun. So we're gonna be moving on to our main topic today. Those were very fun, but that is the
Yeah.
2012's Avengers movie. This is our fifth kind of installment in our I'm sorry, in our MCU retrospective series on here. We're hopefully going to be going through every MCU project very, very slowly on here. Um, and you know, I mean, we're just gonna hop right in. We're just gonna jump into it. What is your take on like phase one of the MCU? Like rewatching these movies, man, it's been an experience because it's like so much has come back to me. I'm viewing these movies from such a different perspective. Now these movies almost 20 years old, you know, like some of these movies are getting up there in
Mhm.
age. What's your
Yeah.
thoughts on phase one?
Well, I haven't rewatched Phase One in like
Hmm.
4 years actually.
Yeah,
Like I probably do it sooner when it comes to like rewatching everything to understand Secret Wars, because like
sure,
I don't remember anything, and I have missed like a lot of shows, and I don't remember a few of other shows. Like I don't remember what happened on Agent Carter, and to me that's
sure,
still canon, for example. But
yeah,
even then, I don't remember what happened in other shows like Moon Knight, and I
sure,
kind of like Moon Knight, but still. But anyway, Phase One. I think it was they were trying to find their way. They were literally like, let's do these movies about the heroes that are not as known as Spider-Man, the X-Men, Fantastic Four.
sure,
They were known, like saying like that Iron Man and Captain America and Thor were not known by people. I think it's a misconception, because they were, like, the Avengers. Well, they're very well known. Iron Man had a lot of TV shows. Captain America had a TV show. Uh, all right, probably Thor wasn't known for like being Thor, Marvel Thor, but the Nordic god Thor. but yeah, I do think it was like also clever. Like, let's start with these characters,
hmm,
because let's start introducing them. Let's start making themselves like heroes, literally becoming heroes. You have Tony going from the playboy that doesn't care, and to like the one that holds the weight of the world on his hands. We got same thing with Thor. We went to the party guy who drinks a lot, and he's like narcissist and selfish, and like he only wants to be king and rule overall. To this person that, yeah, uh, people are people. It's like that's
Sure.
literally the conclusion he gets. People are human beings too, or Asgardian beings, I guess. I don't remember anything about the Incredible Hulk. I have not watched Captain America Brave New World, so I'm probably just watching a version without the root character. So I really don't know anything about this movie because I don't think anyone does other than the Stanley cameo on like the Battle of Harlem being on Daredevil and on Ben Urich's office. So and First Avenger is really great. That's like
Yeah.
a total masterpiece. Same thing with Iron Man One, and both masterpieces. Iron Man Two, it's enjoyable, but
Yeah.
it has Elon Musk, so that has definitely not aged well at all. Um, so yeah, and so yeah, the phase one they were pretty much just trying to find balance, a way to tell their stories, well to communicate, a way to communicate with people. Some resonated better than others
Yeah.
because I wasn't there. I was very young when they were releasing, so I literally don't remember much about how people reacted when Iron Man 2 and Thor and Captain America
Sure.
released. Um, Not to speak about Iron Man and Incredible Hulk because I was literally a baby, but now when the Avengers came into play, the at the moment probably the biggest, the most ambitious cinematic event at the time,
Yeah.
um, people were talking about it all over the place. Everyone was talking about the Avengers. The TV spots were insane for the movie. The promotion, the marketing was like I remember everything that had a Thor, a even a Hawkeye, like the fruit juice, like what. And Hawkeye was like the least markable character at the time.
Sure.
So, so yeah, Avengers is the one that pretty much jump starts. Like we talk about it, it jump started the MCU more than Iron Man did. Even Iron Man
Yeah.
was the idea that Nick Fury talks about. That was Iron Man.
Yes.
The Avengers was the execution, and it
Uh,
was in my opinion, a very well made.
yeah. It's really interesting, like watching through these movies, because, like you said, I wasn't watching these as they came out. Like Phase One, I wasn't going to like the like cinema or watching them on DVD. Like I had to catch up on them, post them already being out.
Yeah,
So watching it for this little series we're doing here was so much fun because it was like the first time I'm like individually talking about each one of these movies, and really breaking down how I feel about them and like the intricacies of the story. And you're right, like, I think we look back at this one a little bit like, oh yeah, but they get bigger and bigger as you go along. And why, yes, that's true. If you look back at the time, just how impressive of a feat this is to be like, we're gonna release this movie and this movie and this movie and this movie, and then they all come together in one crossover event kind of movie. That was at the time unprecedented. That's something many
yeah,
people had tried. DC had tried, Marvel had tried in the past. They failed. They couldn't dig for whatever reason. Like, this is a movie that like defined modern filmmaking. Because now, if you look
yes,
at movies that are being made, they're trying to replicate this exact experiment of like, oh, but we have all these different movies and they'll cross over and they'll do this. And,
yeah,
like you had their like monster verse that they
yeah.
tried
I was gonna say that.
to do it. And now like TV shows and stuff do it and stuff like that. And it's like it really was such a like monumentally kind of piece of history, at least in like the
Yeah,
film genre. And like I'm watching this movie and there's so much of like the dialogue in this movie. It's so insane watching it because now they're just pieces of pulp culture, just like like there was an idea and like, oh, that's my secret captain, and like so much of those, like, oh, I understood that reference, like those are so ingrained into pulp culture. It's like, oh yeah, they come from a movie. Like it's crazy that they just
yes.
come from a movie.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, yeah, like you said it. It's a piece of culture. It's literally impregnated. Like everyone, like if there was people, which yeah, there was, because not everyone's a comic book nerd like us.
Sure.
Uh, pretty much there were people like, who is Iron Man? Who's Captain America? Everybody knows who
Sure.
Iron Man and Captain America are
Yeah.
now, and it's mainly due to this movie. It's mainly due to this movie. This movie, like like you said, like the monster burst, it's really funny, and it's something that I will never forget. It's like Universal, like that, the Dark Universe, yeah, sure, but nah, but like everyone tried after this. They wanted to replicate this formula. Very few went to do it successfully. Then there was DC, and then like yeah, it literally set a precedent for modern film in on blockbusters,
Yeah.
obviously. Um, I like rewatching this movie. I didn't. I didn't rewatch this movie for this. Sorry, I didn't have the time.
No,
But I
totally fine.
remember it like the palm of my hand. So
Yeah.
it's perfect. But this movie does have like probably yeah. A lot of people have said that it has aged a little bit bad. That
Hmm.
and even in the when it released, people were saying like, "Oh my god, this was what everyone was talking about. It looks like a series, look like a sitcom." And I'm like, well, I mean, and what's the problem with that? I mean, what it's because it's the format that it's filmed on. I don't know, and
Sure.
it's I really think about it, and I'm like, yeah, no, this movie in particular, was an entire event. Um, Everything that happens in this movie also, I mean, it's a also a before and after for Marvel is in everything, in every way, in like even in people who were working on Marvel, other parts of Marvel, on Sony, Spider Man, and X Men, Fox, and all that. They said, "All right, let's do the same thing," because they
Yeah.
even tried with the Sinister Six plan that Sony had, and I think they still have for some reason, despite
Yeah.
already being in the MCU. And and the X Men had the same plans. They had the Gambit movies. They
Yeah.
before being bought, they announced a multiple man movie and some other projects they had in mind, like the New Mutants projects and all that. Like they have the idea from here. Like yes, like you said it, they tried before. Marvel tried before, like this famous thing about Wolverine appearing on Spider Man that never
Yeah.
happened, and never came to do rights, and they didn't find the jacket. I think that's like the excuse they gave always. Uh, but yeah, this set the precedent for Marvel as well. This was also when the movies started, when the comics started replicating the movies,
Yeah.
uh, which only happened with stuff like oh, in Superman, in the radio Superman TV show, they mentioned kryptonite. Let's add that. Well, they literally changed characters like Nick Fury to like synergy. And yeah,
Yeah.
nowadays it's kind of bad. Like you have like Miss Marvel being killed off and becoming a mutant. Like yeah, that's bad, obviously.
Right.
But back in the day, you have these things that they were trying to do it like we're still following the comic like timeline and everything, like the universe rules. But still, yeah, this was big. This was big as a movie, as an event, but also as a movie. I think it's really good. I think it really, even if it has aged bad in some stuff, and the plot holes are there because they are, um,
Sure.
like should we really care? Like,
Sure.
um, to me, it's still a perfectly fine movie.
Oh yeah. Like I think because yeah, like that's like the title of this week's episode is like, does it hold up today? And I'd argue it does. Like, can you argue sometimes it looks a little gray? I'd say so.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
it does look a little gray. Yeah, sure. But I also think it looks. I still think in terms of like how it's filmed, how it's shot, I still think it looks better. And this is coming from someone who loves the MCU. Like I
Mhm.
love way more of it than I don't. I still think it looks better than a lot of the modern MCU
Yes.
projects we get today. Just the way it's shot, the way it's filmed, the how they write the dialogue. I
Of
think that's
course.
one of this. Like, I think that's one of this movie's highlights is like how it writes its dialogue, how characters talk to each other. It feels so natural. It feels so real. It feels so organically natural. And again, it's so impressive because you are bringing together four different movies from these four different worlds. And we've seen that with some of the modern Avengers movies, where sometimes I don't think it fully translates. Like, like Star Lord and stuff like that. I didn't never thought like fully translated to Avengers, But I felt like all four of these just came together in such a perfect way.
Yeah.
They clashed in such a perfect way where like there's not a moment it's like, oh, but that's not how he acted in that movie. It's like, no, this just feels like they're organic characters. Um, who would you say is the strongest character in this movie, or like who's your favorite character that they were able to nail in terms of like their story and like, what the characters went through in this movie?
Okay, when you say strongest, I was thinking about the Hulk, obviously. Uh, but no, I think my favorite character in this movie. I never think about it. Like when I watched this
Fair,
movie the first time, it was definitely Iron Man. Like I wanted to be a Tony Stark. I wanted to be
sure.
Iron Man. I don't know. I think. I mean, I can tell you like I know which are the two characters that are the most misrepresented, probably, or not
Mm,
misrepresented. More like they are literally not like one. It's literally a nothing of a character, and the other one it's like not as good as his first film.
hmm
The one that is not as good as his first film, of course, is Captain America. I think this movie is like that transition that needs to happen between the first Avenger and the Winter Soldier. Like I think the first Avenger already made him a hero. This is just like him experiencing real life events, and then the next one is pretty
Sure.
much let's overthrow the government, which yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then the one that it's literally nothing of a character here is Hawkeye because he's like there because they needed to fill in and because Hawkeye is a popular character in comics, but he didn't even have like a purple suit. He has a black suit with purple
Yeah.
details, and so yeah, I can tell. And Hawkeye is one of my favorite original Avengers, but I love the Hawkeye show. But still, yeah, this one was not it for Clint.
Mhm.
Like yeah, I think this is. I think I will probably actually say the Hulk. It's the best one in this movie because it's actually I think when you think about the best appearances of each one of the main six, you have like
Yeah.
Iron Man and Captain America are probably Endgame, and like Thor, it's
Sure.
yeah probably Ragnarok or no Infinity War, sorry,
Infinity
and
War. Yeah.
Black Widow, you have also Endgame and her own movie, Hawkeye his show, but like you have Bruce, and probably this was Bruce at its peak in
I
general.
I fully agree. Yeah. Like that's something I was going to bring up too, where like there's a lot of conversations about Bruce and the Hulk in the MCU in general, and like we can sit here and argue if he was a good, if he's been good or bad, and the whole She-Hulk, like we can talk about that all day.
Yeah,
But Hulk, I feel like Bruce Wayne just had, or, sorry, not Bruce Wayne, Bruce Banner has not had the opportunity to shine. And I don't think that's on Mark Ruffalo's fault. I don't even think that's a whole on Marvel. I just think that's the whole universal
Universal.
thing. And I feel like I would agree with you. I think this was one of the few times where he really gets the shine. I think not only as the Hulk, because Hulk is great in this movie.
Bruce.
There's some really good. Bruce as a character is the like honestly almost the center of the movie and what kind of brings all these characters together in the way that they do, because all the characters are fighting, they're going against each other, and everyone kind of likes Bruce. Like everyone gets along with Bruce. Bruce and Tony, Bruce and Steve, Bruce and Matt, even Bruce and Thor have some really good
Yeah,
moments in this movie. And I think the way the way we're seeing the I guess the mental health side of the Hulk is really interesting, and Bruce actively having to try and keep that side of him away, and this journey of okay, maybe times like this is when I need to let that guy out, and it's important to every once in a while to bring him out when needed. And obviously there's that iconic
yes.
line of that's my secret captain, I'm always angry, and that transformation sequence looks gorgeous. Might be one of the best looking MCU CGI kind of moments
Yes.
in the MCU. It looks fantastic.
Like I totally agree, totally agree. Like probably like that scene alone, it's what it marked a generation. It marked me.
Yeah.
That I mean, wow, it's. Yeah, I mean, it was also probably like my first close representation of an event like Bruce admitting that he tried to kill himself
Oh,
on
yeah,
like on one scene, and like he couldn't do it anymore. And I like also that they like nowadays obviously they eliminated that scene from Incredible Hulk. I think it works better that he did that they did it, because it shows like, damn, he was already messed up in his movie, he's now messed up even more. I like the recast. I like the Mark Ruffalo and
I
Edward
do
Norton
too.
recast. Edward Norton did a good job, but I think that Mark Ruffalo fits a lot better with everyone else
The tone, yeah,
than what Edward Norton would have. I don't see Edward Norton and Robert Downey Jr. together working on a Shield Lab. Um, yeah, like the Hulk in this movie is what you say. It's pretty much what put all these pieces together, and he is technically like the scene where he says the iconic line. It's where everyone who was like they were fighting on New York, but they were all by their sides. Like there was Cap, Nat,
yeah,
and Clint. Thor was fighting with Loki. Tony was with the Leviathan. I think it was the name of that thing.
yeah,
And and then Bruce comes along, and everyone reunites, and you have the circle scene, the iconic circle scene that it's one of my favorite scenes on cinematic history.
yeah.
It's amazing that scene, that the music, Alan Silvestri's
Oh,
score is phenomenal in this
incredible,
movie.
yeah,
Like even I don't think it has much of like individual character themes, but when it does, it's really great. It's really great. Another character that I also want to like highlight a little bit, it's Loki himself. Here, Loki is a devil. He's a villain. He's not like, because like in the Thor movies, in all Thor movies, he's evil, but he's evil like on the first one he's tragic. On the second one he's like mentally unstable, and the third one he's pretty much just like, yeah, I'm able by the giggles, for the giggles mainly. But in here, Loki, he is a villain. He is
yeah,
acting like a villain. He is a bad person. He's literally trying to slave human race. Um, Tom Hiddleston has always portrayed this character amazingly. He has always bring his A game to the character. He's the best part of Thor: The Dark World, and the only reason I don't think that's the worst MCU movie. But in here he does such an amazing work being a villain. I think it was an amazing choice also making him the villain after the Thor movie, because you already know his motivations, you already know what he wants.
yeah,
You don't need to tell us that. We already know. The thing is now that he's executing it with an Infinite Stone and another one that he gets later, and like like he kills, like that scene in Loki where Mobius tells him, "You're smiling. You're making a man have his eye out, and you're laughing. You're smiling. That you're enjoying it, and that's yeah. He's doing it. He's doing it. He's enjoying torturing that man. Um,
yeah.
Probably killing him even. Um, yeah, I want to highlight Loki in general for that. Also for killing Coulson, because thanks of that we have Agents of Shield, which is definitely canon. I will always defend it's canon. By the way.
100%. I love me some Agents of Shield, and we'll talk about Coulson here in a second. But no, I think you're right. I love, Loki's one of the most beloved, just like movie villains of all time for a reason. And I talked about a lot in the Thor episode that I did, and I said that I thought that was one of the best performances as Loki, and I really loved how they were able to really deep down, like really explain. And I said I thought he had the best arc in the Thor movie, and I do think this is, while maybe not as, maybe I don't like it as much as I liked him in the first Thor. I think this is such a good what's the word I want to use, expansion of that
Mhm.
journey in a movie where they didn't have a lot of time, right? Like they need to have all these characters be introduced, they have to come together. So I think it was very smart to have, like, okay, you already know this character's deal, you know what he's going through, you know what he wants, throw him in here, and he already has chemistry with, instantly has chemistry with all that cast. And there's
Yeah.
there's that one. I think one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when like they're first interacting with him, and he like there's that line of like, "Oh, Loki, you're Thor's brother, right?" And it's like that is like fundamentally his big issue is like, I can
Yeah.
go across the galaxy and still my brother is more popular than me. Like, this is insane. This is why I'm doing this. I will be shown respect. And I think that's really, really fun. So you're right. Loki's great. I do want to go back to your takes on like Hawkeye just really quickly because I do agree. I think Hawkeye's good in this, but I do think it was maybe a mistake to sideline him and make him like Loki's pawn for the movie. Um, Maybe if I was writing it, maybe I would make that like Maria Hill instead and have Hawkeye with the group. Maybe they did. Again, I don't know the story behind it. Like maybe there's like behind the scenes reasons why or something. But like I do think it was a mistake to wait to introduce them because out of the main six, Hawkeye
Yeah.
does seem to me like the one I care about the least, and that might be why. That might be the reason why because we didn't get him in the original. He didn't have his own movie. He wasn't in the Avengers that much. He really doesn't become a character until Age of Ultron.
Yes.
And then he's not in Avengers Infinity War either. So like he gets significantly less screen time out of all the main Avengers until the Hawkeye series, which is, runtime, skyrockets, right? But
Yeah.
still, like, I would have liked him to have a bigger role in that movie. I don't know. Maybe give him the like Nat role because I feel like I don't know how you feel. I mean, obviously not the romantic side of it, but like I feel like Hawkeye and the Hulk always have a really fun dynamic, and I feel like Hawkeye can always
Yeah.
kind of relate to the Hulk in a way. And I was never a big fan of the like romantic side of Black Widow and Hulk. Like it's fine, but I never really connected to it personally. But then it's like, well, what do you get Nat to do? What's her
Yes.
role in that movie then? So maybe it's just a numbers thing. It's like it's easy to write a movie around 5 characters instead of 6. I don't know the reason, but I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, with Hawkeye, the thing it's also like, I mean, it probably was a reference to the comics, how he started as an Iron Man villain and then became an Avenger. Probably, I
Sure.
always think it was that, but I do agree. Like, he's in Thor in like half a scene. He's not even in the entire scene. He's not the focus of the scene. You don't even know who that guy is. Like, if you don't, he actually is like, if you don't read comics, you don't fucking know who this guy is. So,
Yeah.
this is like, yeah, he literally is just a character that needed more time. Like it's also very funny how until Endgame, because like in Age of Ultron he had his family and all that, and
Yeah.
he got arrested and he got this amazing like telling Tony his truths to the face on Civil War. But no, it's not until Endgame till you feel like damn, like what he went through during the believe like he became pretty much Yakuza Punisher. So
Yeah.
then you got into the Hawkeye show, and then it's pretty much one of the best MCU shows, which is hilarious, honestly. If you think about the everything that we have to go through with that character, I do agree about the Hulk dynamic. I love Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That's
Yes.
honestly the one show I would say it's better than Daredevil. As talking about comic book shows, but like I do love that dynamic they have in there. It's really great. But that also has to do with the evolution of the Hulk across the MCU.
Sure.
That it's something to talk about other days and other teams and other shows,
Sure.
movies and stuff. But yeah, you can pretty much tell that wouldn't have worked over time. And and also Natasha pretty much they needed more time. I do agree that
Yeah.
you already introduced her on Iron Man. She had more to do, but she wasn't much of a character. That's it, and that's it with Loki, which pretty much set up the Black Widow movie. Was really really good as well.
Yeah, no, that scene's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I would also agree. I think Nat, while really good in this movie when she gives an opportunity, sometimes she is the like, oh, it's like the love interest character that has to look pretty. Like
Yeah.
we talked in our Iron Man 2 episode about how early Black Widow wasn't given a lot of respect. Like she was like, oh, it's it's the girl one. It's she looks
It's a
pretty, blah
Scarlett
blah blah.
Johansson. Yeah.
Right, she's like the eye candy for the boys. And how she was shown more respect, like like Onward after Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Like she was
Yes.
shown more
Yes. Yes.
respect. She's had better projects and stuff like that. And that's apparent here. Like literally her like introduction is like, oh, she's all tied up and she's an agent, and it's
And
like,
she's all sweaty, and they are all
yeah, it's
like
like,
how
it's
he
like, all
was
right, guys, all
seducing
right.
this guy, and I'm like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um,
Thoughts on Thor in this movie? Because I would also say that like Thor is kind of there just because he knows Loki. Like that's the kind of role in the movie. While he's good and like his dynamics with the others are really really solid, he doesn't really have an arc outside of just like he's my brother though. Like I don't know.
I must confess something that I have been very publicly talked about on my Twitter and to
Okay,
my friends and to anyone who I talk about Thor and his movies.
sure,
I don't like the Thor movies to start.
sure,
I don't like Thor that much. I don't dislike him. I think he's
sure,
cool. Like and like what anyone would think about Chris Hemsworth, but like that's it. I don't really care about Thor. Like I don't
sure,
really care about that side of the Marvel universe in general. On this movie, I think he was good. He was like that's what I'm saying. He was cool. Yeah, it's pretty much what you say. He's there because he's Loki's brother, and like
yeah,
that's what I say about the plot holes. He appears out of nowhere after the Bifrost was destroyed, and they explain it on a prelude comic. Apparently, that's on the MCU wiki, by the way. So I'm like, yeah, well, explain it in the movie, or I don't know. They just say something ambiguous, like how many energies the Father of all should have, like. Join in to bring you here. Like that's not an explanation.
no,
but yeah, still like I really like what you said about Eric Selvig. Like how when also he shows preoccupation about him and about Jane. Like he asks Coulson to like, hey, how's Jane? He doesn't do it explicitly, but Coulson shows him. And
yeah,
he also like Selvig, he's a friend. And
yeah, that's nice.
he's also there for like the he's pretty much the action figure in this movie. He's there fighting Hulk in a scene that I love. I always love when those
Yeah, that's
two get
fun.
along in the punches. Like it's great in animation on the Hulk vs. Thor movie. It's great on the Earth's Mightiest Heroes when it happens, and it's great here and in Ragnarok.
Ragnarok, yeah.
Yeah. Also, the whole scene where the Hulk unleashes on the helicopter. That's
That's really cool.
insane.
Yeah,
In general, I must say that this entire movie is like very intense. Like it's really you feel in danger in this movie. I don't know how to tell you. But yeah, going back to Thor. Yeah, he's pretty much the action figure. Like when Coulson dies, like he does react, but then he like goes out for a while. He is about to pick up his hammer, and it was like, oh, maybe he doesn't feel worthy anymore. I think he just doesn't do it, and then we see all this evolution of like the Tony and Steve talk, and Nat and Clean, all that, and the kind of like in memoriam that they did for Coulson. And then when they are all preparing to face off Loki, he just like picks it up and like, what was he doing at the time? Like, what was he wandering around like? For a while. What was he doing there? Like, I don't know. It's kind of hilarious that to think that. I
sure.
think he joins in on the battle, tries to convince Loki and all that. And on the battle, you also have really great moments with him and he's like it's probably the movie that most than like what the original Thor was and what Thor: The Dark World and even like Age of Ultron were. Like before Ragnarok, he's the God of Thunder, but he doesn't show it as much. Unless
Sure.
it's this movie. This movie, we do see Thor using his lightning a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Like fighting Tony. His scene with Tony is also really great. And like when they first met, it's really funny that little battle they have. And Loki's just watching, eating popcorn and stuff. Yeah, but overall, Thor is it's that he's the the male muscular man that it's showing off his biceps everywhere, and
Sure.
that pretty much is around, and because he's Loki's brother. But yeah.
Sure.
Also, a quick note that when Loki hears that Selvig is Thor's that he knows Thor, that he doesn't hesitate to control him with the scepter. Like that's I never thought about that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, no, like you're 100% right. Like I like the first Thor, enough. Like I think it's like a fun like I think it's fun if you think of it as like a fun little rom-com, right? But it's nothing like insane. And I feel like every other hero here has a better debut or at least a better like
Yeah.
foundation to who they are. Like even if you don't like the like 2008 Hulk movie, I think they still at least nailed the characterization of Hulk and
Yeah.
give them enough to do going into this one, where Thor kind of just like he kind of just is there, and you're so right about like the Bifrost thing. It's like, how'd you get here? And it's like, I just needed to be here really bad, so I got here. And it's like, that's not a good, because if that's the case, you would
Yeah.
have seen Jane, way sooner if you could have got, like it does lessen the events of the first Thor movie a little bit, because I think that ending is really really good, of like, oh, like you have found this new place you love and you can't go there. I think that puts a really good character strain, and just like I thought the writing on that was really good. And then it's like, well, that's kind of gone now, I guess. I don't know, that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like obviously though, like we have a couple more characters to go through here, and then we'll wrap this up. uh Tony, Steve are definitely like the like they're the main characters of this. Obviously, like they're the mains of all four Avengers movies, but I really do like their dynamic. Like I think like those actors have always just had such good chemistry with each other. And I've enjoyed rewatching these movies because I think since the Downey stuff has happened with Doomsday, like I think my just memory on the Iron Man character has lessened a little bit, just because it's overshadowed by me not liking the Doom situation going on right
Yeah.
now. And watching these movies are good. Like, oh, he was great as Iron Man. Like don't forget that him as Iron Man was really really good and ahead of its time, and he does a fantastic job in that role. Same with Chris Evans, and I think like these two characters that have so much in common and yet are so fundamentally different, so much fun to watch. I love that huge argument scene in the helicarrier, right? And I think that plot line, well, not really dived into enough, it kind of just appears in the middle of the movie, is really cool. It's what Invincible did this season. It's what like BVS tried to do, where it's like,
Mm.
you are these heroes, we are just humans, and we just try to do anything to try and have control over it, just in case things go wrong, right? It's that classic Batman versus Superman dilemma of like
Yeah.
Batman trying to figure out what if Superman goes bad, kind of thing. I thought that was really, really cool, and I think both Tony and Steve kind of having slightly different approaches to that dilemma is really fun. You know, what did you think of those two in this movie?
Well, when I first watched this movie, even though I remember, like, quick story time. I had, it was my birthday when I watched this movie as a kid,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
they give me this Captain America figure, which I was like, yeah, okay, and then because I didn't watch the first Avenger, obviously, and then I went on the same day to watch the movie, and I came back, and I was I was like, Captain America. I have my toy of Captain America.
Aw,
It was really cool. I really always like Captain America. Even though in this movie, like what I said before, he's not as he's more in a transitional period
sure.
between his first and second film. Um, Still, I really liked him. I really liked how he's protected. All the jokes that like he was frozen on the ice and that he doesn't know what things are. Like the bet he does with Nick Fury that
That was
nothing
good. Yeah.
will nothing else will surprise me. I bet you $5 it will, and then he just gives it. He
Fine.
did
Yeah.
like, yeah. That's really great. That's really great. Yeah, Chris Evans was really good in this movie. Chris Evans has always been a great Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
Um, he has always brings his heart to the character. Like, I think his scenes are the one that you can note the most of the Battle of New York. Like, he's more than a regular human being, but he's
Yeah.
tired. He's like fighting his
Yeah.
life for this, and he's really good at it. Then you have Tony, which, like, even though I like Captain America, I liked Iron Man more.
Yeah.
He's it's like, yeah, Robert Downey. It's what you say. I don't like that whole Doomsday situation. I'm honestly watching that movie because of compromise other than because it's sad that I have to say that I'm watching that and Secret Wars because it's the movie event of the year rather than because
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I pretty much do like the dynamic they have. Like, of course they were gonna butt heads. Of course they were
Yeah.
gonna like, because yeah, Tony is in the end, at least here in this movies in this part of the universe, he's still learning. He's still like, he's still that man that was before he was kidnapped, but he's doing his best for it not for people not to get hurt, for doing what's right. That's why he hacks on Fury's computer. That's why on Shield everything. That's why he does it mainly because he's trying. There was something that wasn't right for him, and he was like, "Okay, this doesn't make sense. Let's do this." And Steve is such a rule guy that actually that's what the Winter Soldier is about. He's pretty much losing that faith in his country, or in the government of his country, and rules on what he thought was the rule of law. And then, yeah, he's also like, well, why are you doing this? This is not the mission. You should be focused on the scepter. Like, yeah, but come on, you're thinking the same thing. This is not okay. And then the dilemma, like what you said, that they say you're nothing without your suit. Without the serum, you are just a rat lab. That's really interesting. Like,
Right.
and again, as someone who watched this movie as a little infant that was had barely idea of superheroes other than animation, other than the Justice League, and other
Right.
than the Spider-Man movies, this was really, really great. Like, this was damn, like, obviously, probably if I was in my 40s watching that for the first time, I would be like, okay, yeah, that's pretty basic. But right now, but at the time, and I think even right now, it's still like, yeah, that's something that they should be talking about. And at the time, it was original. At the time, it was pretty original. You didn't have
Yeah.
much heroes acting like that. You had like Cyclops and Logan, but like that was more about Jean than, and they didn't like each other than actually being a dilemma about how they do stuff. So yeah, it's actually really funny how Tony realizes that Loki was using the Stark Tower after saying the thing that he wants a monument with his name on it. Like, that was really, really fun. Also, Steve saying the Stark Tower, that piece of that was really, really fun. Yeah, and obviously Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. have always had chemistry. You can
Yeah.
also you can also tell that this was pretty much based on the Civil War storyline that just released a few years prior to this movie. They were already setting up the basis for like these two had his ideologies and these two have their times, and it pretty much sets up and with Age of Ultron they build up perfectly to that as well.
I,
Um,
100%. Yeah. Like, I think they do a really good job. Like, rewatching this movie is really interesting because you can tell there's that underlying conflict that doesn't quite get resolved because it's replaced with respect between
yeah,
the two of them, but it's still technically there somewhere, and you just have to dig it out. Like, there's the, like you said, like that scene's fantastic, and there's that, there's that line from Siege is like, you're not the guy that will roll over and cover the bomb, like, you're not the guy that will make the sacrifice play. And to end it with Tony making the sacrifice play, being like, all right, I guess I
yeah.
am the guy now. And Steve just being like, this son of a bitch. I guess he is that guy. I have to respect it, and there's that like, there is that dynamic of Steve knowing Tony's father. This is the
Mhm.
son of a good friend of Steve's, and from Tony's perspective, like, this is the guy my dad always talked about. This is the great soldier that inspired him, that helped him found Shield. That's that guy. I don't know. I guess we'll see. So it's like that's already such a fun foundation to their frenemy, friendship. I guess that grows beyond the bonds of this movie, and also just that's such a great foundation for the MCU. Just like I think any great universe has to have a good foundation of these
Main characters.
characters. Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
like your two main, and it's like without those two, man, it would be so hard to build onto. And that's honestly, I think, the thing the MCU has kind of been missing these last couple of years
Yes,
are
thank you.
the friendship and the dynamics between characters. There's a lot of these characters I really love in the MCU right now. They don't have a dynamic with each other yet, which is
Yeah, that's something I complained a lot on everywhere I
yeah,
can, because like you have, yes, this you have these two main characters. It's a lot like the Arrowverse. The Arrowverse takes also obviously a lot
yep,
from the MCU. Like you have the Arrowverse, the foundation. It's pretty much Oliver and
yeah,
Barry. You have
yep,
here Steve and Tony, and
yep,
like pretty much they are the main characters. Yeah, you have Thor movies, you have Guardians movies, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, but the main characters of all the multiverse saga are Tony and
yep,
Steve. Even though you have Thor, even though you have Nat, even though you have Bruce, even though you have Flint,
sure,
those two are, and you even can see it on theaters, on the theater reactions to Avengers Endgame when it released. Like when the main Avengers appeared, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, right." When the Captain America part of the credits appeared, everyone just blows into
yeah,
exaggeration of screamings and clapping and all that. And with Tony happens the same. Everyone was
right,
like jumping from their seats to like just clap to Robert Downey Jr.'s name. And now the MCU doesn't have that, and they could have done it. They could have done. You can. I mean, yeah, Sony's problem of Spider-Man, but you haven't also done. You have more characters to do that. Like you have Doctor Strange, you have Captain America, Sam Wilson,
right,
Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. You have even Young Avengers. You could have done it with that. You have done it with like Cassie and Kate, and
yeah,
some new people like Mark and Shang Chi. I don't know. You can done it with those characters, but then again, Marvel. I think Marvel was a mess after Endgame. After the pandemic, they pretty much didn't know what the hell they were doing at releasing so much content that in the end they went into creating the event rather than creating what everyone was excited about the event, which was how are these characters gonna play into it? How
yeah,
what's gonna be the ending? Like Endgame hype wasn't only because of the continuation of Infinity War. It was also because how are Steve and Tony's stories going to end? And right now, I don't even know if there are going to be character endings on Doomsday and Secret Wars, because like most of these characters still have their stories to tell. Like
yeah. They're just getting
Peter's
started. Yeah,
Peter is just starting a new trilogy. Like the Young Avengers haven't even formed yet, which is
no,
insane to me. Sam only has had like two projects as Captain America, and one of them was mostly as Falcon, then Captain America. Like yeah, you're literally missing that. You're literally missing the main focus that are its main characters on your faces.
100. I think you nailed that on the head because there are so many like I would even argue there's a more consistent rate of great characters in phase 4 and 5 than there was in the couple first phases. The problem is they're not able to come back, right? Like
Yeah,
you kind of know that we're gonna get Steve and Steve and Tony and Bruce like every year, every couple years at least. While you are introducing those other characters, you are right. There's that through line. They haven't been able to build these characters up to make you truly care. Like you're right. You have a great roster of characters. You have Kate. You have Peter. You have Sam. You have Shang Chi. You have Doctor. Like these are great characters. You just haven't built up their dynamics. You haven't built them up.
yeah,
And
as well.
again, like some of it's their fault, some of it's not. Like you had a COVID, you had our strikes, you had
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
the the changing of an entire movie like main villain that you had to deal with, and again some of it's their fault. And I think that's why I'm even more frustrated that the first Avengers movie back is going to feature Downey and probably Chris Evans, and let's be honest, probably ScarJo. And it's like, but I
yeah,
wanted to focus on these guys, the guys who haven't had an
yeah.
Avengers movie yet.
Exactly. Like another thing, like what you said it, you knew like Steve was gonna be on like a movie next year. Like if you think about it right now, from 2011 when the first Avenger released till 2019 when Endgame released, each movie, each year you had Steve Rogers in at least one project. Like the
Yeah,
Avengers, Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron, Civil War, Homecoming, Infinity War, and Endgame. Like
You're right.
you had him everywhere. I mean, Tony was not the same thing because after Iron Man 3, you had the thing like, is Robert Downey Jr. coming back or not? Like, and then he did obviously, but like,
Right.
yeah, you're right, and their dynamic is also very important because like like who knows each other at this point? Like Yelena knows like Kate, I guess. You have like I
Right.
don't know, Wong knows everyone, and Matt knows She-Hulk and
Right.
Kamala Khan's father. That's like the dynamic they're going for. Like it's really weird, but
I
so
agree.
yeah,
Yeah. No. But just kind of like the one last thing I definitely want to say before wrapping up here is like I think you called it earlier. I do love how much of a Coulson movie this is, and how much of an Agents of Shield movie this kind of is. Because again, love Agents of Shield, one of my favorite Marvel projects ever made. And I love how much of a focus Phil Coulson has. Like Phil really is the through line through Iron Man, through Thor,
yeah,
through all these different characters, and they do a really good job at making you care about this guy so easily. A character, by the way, he didn't originate from the
yeah,
comic books. This is an original character, which is why every time like someone's like, "Oh, but why'd you make an original character? Why don't you pull it from the comics?" It's like, yeah, comics are great, they're amazing. You have to base your stuff on it. But also characters like a Phil Coulson or like a Harley Quinn or like a Harrison Wells are good sometimes, and
yeah.
that's how you create more iconic characters. Coulson went on to go into the comics, to like some Spider-Man cartoons and various other things. Now he's just a well-known Marvel character in general, which is really really cool. Went on to do 7 seasons of
Seven
a
seasons.
hundreds of episodes of a TV show,
Yeah,
which is crazy. And his death is emotional. And again, I don't know how much of it is because I again watched all 7 seasons of Agents of Shield, and I love that character. He's one of my favorite MCU characters in general. So I don't know if it's like a retrospective thing, me feeling very emotional over his death, but um, I love how Nick Fury creates a Nick Fury does what Nick Fury does best, and that's
yeah.
create the narrative of like, this is how you're going to get them to form. Paint the cards a little bloody, make him sad over the fact that he died for this cause and blah blah blah.
And
And it
then let's
works.
bring him back next month.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
he knew off the bat, like, I'm gonna bring him back in just a little bit, but I needed to feel real for these guys. So fantastic, it's
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, something that he says also in Agents of Shield. One of the few things I remember about Agents of Shield because I dropped it on season 4. I will rewatch it and watch what I'm missing
Hmm.
at a point. But it's like Coulson asks Fury like, "Hey, but why did you bring me back?" I don't remember the name of the project, but it was meant for an Avenger, and Fury says, "Yeah,
You are one, yeah.
exactly, yeah." Yeah, also is a great character. I really love like his dynamic with everyone, with Tony, with like Pepper when he arrives and like, he's like, oh, his first name is
Yeah,
that's really really funny. And in general, he being a big Captain America
that
fanboy,
was
like
cool.
that's really great. Like, and that was also set up on Iron Man 2 when he holds the shield. Like, do you have any idea what this is? Like, he probably wanted a photo or something with it. Yeah, it's really really sweet also of a character, especially on these movies. Agents of Shield also as well. I must say I said just I dropped it. I don't remember most of it. I remember most of the plots, but not most of the show per se.
Sure. It's
Um,
definitely very worth it. Like, it's
yeah,
one of those shows where like your first go of it, it's a very slow start. You're like, okay, but like, and like, I hate saying this with shows, but like, it's like once you get to a certain point, it's like, oh, okay. Like season 4 and 5, I would put above. I would put season 4 and 5 right there with like Daredevil with its first 3 seasons, and then like maybe Winter Soldier and like Infinity War as like my favorite Marvel stuff. But yeah, no, for sure. Like this movie's definitely a blast, I think.
yeah.
You have any final thoughts on Avengers that we haven't talked about yet that you
Well,
want to bring up?
Nick Fury, pretty much.
Yeah.
This was Sam Jackson's first movie I ever watched.
Yeah.
Except for
Same.
The Incredibles, probably. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah, you're
watched
right.
that dubbed. I watched that dubbed. I watch most movies dubbed for some
Yeah.
reason. I don't know. But yeah, that doesn't think we can. To me, Frozono is someone else. But yeah, like as Nick Fury here is amazing. Like
Fantastic. Yeah.
he's probably I mean I like him more on like Winter Soldier and stuff, but like in this movie I think he works pretty well as director of
He
Shield.
does.
He goes by the rules, but at the same time he knows that things need to be done for the better, and it's not like an Amanda Waller thing where things need to be done, let's kill people. He's more like
Hmm.
things need to be done. We need to break the rules, but the rules that are restraining us from doing the
Yeah.
right thing, which somebody also Captain America Civil War kind of deals with. He's really great. Also his interactions with Steve, with Hill, with Coulson, like
Right.
you pretty much don't have many, if any, scenes between Fury and Coulson on any of the previous movies. Now that I think about it, and yet the scene when he dies, it's like you said, it's emotional because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, damn, that's really something. Like these
Yeah.
characters, they know each other, and they respect each other, and all that. And yeah, also when I said that he was pretty much the Coulson, I mean, the drama they needed so that they could assemble. Well, that's pretty much what I hope happens to Foggy at third
Oh,
episode again.
yeah.
I'm still, yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
you're
I'm
good.
still, I'm a little bit like Matt right now, like, and yeah. But anyway, I don't know what else to tell you. Well, I told you about it before we start
Yeah.
the podcast. Um, this movie was the one that pretty much pushed me into everything that it's my love
Yeah.
from comic books, for comic book movies, comic book TV shows. Without this movie, I probably would be, yeah, hyper fixated on other stuff. Probably, I like Star Wars more than all this stuff, but still, I think I will be more into it. I still talk more about superheroes in general with my friends, with with on Twitter. My Twitter account's pretty much about superheroes, about comic stuff. Um, yeah, it set the precedent not only for the world but for me personally. Like my life was literally changed from that on. It's a movie that's so special to me. Everything that I've learned, like I've read from comics, all the lessons that have stuck to me over the last 12 years since I first watched this movie. uh, 13 years already. Then time flies. Have been really, really all thanks to this movie. I tell
Yeah.
you, I was a fan of Spider-Man. I'm always gonna be a Spider-Man fan. I liked other stuff better. I liked other stuff on different different movies, different shows, things. I like DC more than Marvel, but I will always be glad that I watched this movie in theaters and that I had the experience I had, because like the Battle of New York entirely, uh, like I told you, you feel tired. You feel like you feel the conflict. You feel like they are doing their best to protect the people. You see them fight. You see Tony on the ground and they had to back up. You like the whole punching Thor. It's pretty funny. Like, then the resolution, like everyone like going together to like the look scene with, I really like that ring now. And then the ending, like, where are they going now, sir? They're coming back when they're needed. And the music and the A and the like and the
Yeah.
credits, like that was great scenes. Like I knew who Thanos was thanks to Superhero Squad because like kind of like watched that like as a kid. And I
Sure.
wasn't even excited for that. And I didn't knew what post-credit scenes were. I was just there because the credits were really good. Like, and the music was amazing. The Avengers score, it's one of the best and most iconic right now scores of all time. Like,
Yeah.
um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. This movie means a lot to me and my heart. This movie will always mean a lot to me and my heart. It's pretty much what made me a nerd, thanks to it. So and pretty much everything I've watched, like my love for the Arrowverse, my the
Yeah.
friends I've made on like you on Twitter, on any space that I've been able to talk about this hobby that I think we all enjoy and love. Um, It's thanks to it, and I will always be grateful for this movie. Not to Josh Whedon. Josh Whedon can go to hell and back, and then
Yeah.
again, and then go for the seven circles and never return. And also, I'm mad at Kevin Feige right now, so yeah, I'm not giving that thanks, but still, this movie was amazing, and I will always love the Avengers. That's like about it.
I agree. Yeah, like just to echo everything you just said, yeah, it was one of my first MCU movies. It was one of the big like, oh, this is something special. Like this kind of sends you down a rabbit hole of like what else can these comic book worlds create for you? And I think it does really like I feel like even if this isn't one of your favorite movies or anything, like I feel like it's hard to be like a comic book fan and not like, you
Yeah,
know, Avengers or like Infinity War. They're such like a special it's such a special thing seeing these characters that you love be portrayed on screen together in such a cool way that like I know so many people growing up did not have, right? Like I'm so grateful I got to grow up in an era where we had a Captain America and an Iron Man and a Thor and a Hulk working together. That's really, really cool. It's yeah, it introduced me. I don't remember if I started the Avengers before or after I started the Arrowverse, but like they were both are kind of around the same time for
yeah.
me where it's like, oh, like these ongoing superhero stories with these very, you know, these very powerful characters and these long form stories in such a fun way that like, you know, this and the Arrowverse I think like really did change the superhero genre. They they led it for so many years. Um yeah, such a fun journey. I've really enjoyed my rewatch journey through phase one. I'm excited to start through phase two. Um, just to like cap this all off, what would you say is your favorite moment from this movie?
I kind of already said it. The
Yeah,
circle scene,
circle scene.
the
Yeah,
everyone around the circle. That's so powerful to me. Like the moment before, obviously
yeah,
you said it. I'm always angry. The transformation, like which is like yeah, CGI
yeah.
has aged pretty well for this movie. Like yeah, it does hold up in terms of like
It
visually,
does.
in my
Yeah.
opinion. But also like yeah, that scene, everyone like covering up Cap covering up Nathan with his shield, then Tony exploding it with
That's
his
cool.
missile
Yeah.
tank, and then the story taking off his mask, like pretty much declaring war, pretty much. And then yeah, that scene on the circles. They are there to protect humanity. They're there to avenge it if they can. They're there. They are the heroes of the story. They are here pretty much to they look great. They look amazingly great, and like yeah, I mean probably the one that looks not as great is like I said Clint, but even he looks great. Like and everyone is pretty much arming up. Like he with his hair, with his bow and arrow, Thor with his hammer, Cap recollocates his shield and not
Hmm.
with the gunshots, and also Tony just arriving and then Hulk's scream. Like
Yeah.
that's so iconic.
Iconic.
That's iconic. And then the scene after that, that's like a fake one take that it's like you see everyone collaborating. Like like you have the iconic Iron Man um, firing on Cap's shield, and it reflects still Ashitori, and then Iron Man flies and to Hawkeye, and then from Hawkeye to Nat, who's like in one of these things, and then to Hulk and Thor fighting on the Leviathan, and then Hulk punching Thor, and like that. Yeah, those are my favorite moments of this. Definitely, like
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. That it's amazing. It's literally uh wow. That's yeah.
I agree. Yeah, like I think we talked about like all my favorite moments. Like probably my favorite is that giant argument scene with like just the dialogue and stuff. So good. The only like favorite moment we didn't mention, I think, was the Captain America giving the instructions to like the cops, and I thought that was such a
Oh
cool
yeah.
moment of like why should we listen to you? And it's him, you know, protecting them. Is like, all right, let's listen to them, boys. You know, gives them the instructions. I thought that was really fun. Um, but yeah, with that being said, this was an absolute blast. Thank you so much for being here. It was an absolute pleasure to officially meet you. Is there anything you want to shout out, promo, send people your way to go check out? Anything like that?
Well, I'm pretty much not doing anything big right now. I
Sure.
have this project that I'm working on. It's like an Arrowverse continuation that I'm kind of
Oh,
working on. Not a continuation, more than it's kind of an AU without being fully a fanfic. Like
sure.
you want it to feel like an Arrowverse shows, you know. I already
Sure.
have like 3 episodes of one show that's
That's
like an
cool.
Arrow sequel out, but I also pretty much was angry at all the shows being canceled. So I said, and at the Flash is a 9, so I was like, what the hell? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it my way. And also, it pretty much contradicts itself because I'm like, yeah, Superman Lois is cool, but I wanted to unearth Prime, so I'm just gonna ignore what Sam Lane said, and I'm gonna make him look like he's crazy. So I ended up doing that. So that's something I'm working on. It's a work in progress. I'm working with a few friends, also a few stuff like a new version of Superman Lois, more connected to the Arrowverse, the Arrow sequel I'm talking about, which is Queen's Legacy, starring John Diggle. um,
Ooh.
season 9 of Flash rework, because God knows it needs one. um, I'm working on a Bad Woman season 4, and with Juan Pedro, who was here, and Legends of Tomorrow season 8 as well. And it's a work in progress. We've pretty much been working on this for 2 years now, and school and other stuff has to stop me from continuing it. But I have a lot of ideas. I think about it pretty much all the time, and I have a lot of notes about it. So yeah. Other things I should shout out. Well, I'm on Twitter. You can
Yes.
see it right there. I pretty much talk about everything. I just said the Arrowverse. I talk about also the Arrowverse Twitter account that it's about the EU. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's uh, no, well, I don't know. It's Arrowverse Revered. So that's the name on Twitter. And on here it's Trono Yalongo. It's pretty much that. It's really there because probably you will not mention it because it's pretty hard. So yeah. Well, Free Palestine. First of all, I must say that I'm sorry. Yeah, what you can don't stop talking about what's happening,
Yes.
please. That's something. Please donate if you can. That's something I really need to say.
Absolutely.
Um, and also, I don't have any more to promote. Watch Daredevil if you haven't. It's a pretty great
Yes.
job. It's a pretty good show. Sorry, it's a pretty great show. Please watch it. If you don't, and also if there's someone here listening that doesn't know how to start reading comic books or watching this kind of movies, or just watch what you want. Start with whatever you think. Oh, I like how this looks, and start it. If you don't like
Start
it,
there. Yeah.
go to another thing. Try other things. But don't miss Hobbiton. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to promote. I don't think I have to promote anything else. I'm trying to think if there's any friend who has that project I need to promote. But I don't know. I don't think so. So yeah, pretty much that. Yeah,
Alrighty.
that's all.
Amazing. Absolutely. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you. This was a blast. In terms of what we're working on, obviously, after the credits will be on Monday this week. As always, we'll be talking more Reacher and more Born Again. That should be very fun. And join us next Thursday. It should be next Thursday. We're doing our Snow White episode. We'll see how that goes. I hope it's good. We'll see.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, like we have some fun shows ahead. I'm excited for what the rest of the year has in store. But yeah, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you on the flip side.
Yeah.